We're finally here. Oh, this is marvelous.
We are live.
Yeah,
We are like,
yeah. High five you.
oh yeah, high five. You okay? We are live.
Yeah, yeah, we are.
Technology,
I'm so happy to.
technology.
Oh, I
Hmm?
know. I've missed you, but you've been very occupied with work, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
perfect.
Oh, it's been very, very busy recently, and
Mm.
of course, as you can tell, the mood in the United Kingdom, and also the all these activities taking place simultaneously. So we have the tennis going on there, and we have the Euros 2024 going on, and we have this change of government which has occurred here in the United Kingdom. And in each of these events, we've sort of had to have a royal go there to try and show that presence because they are very much in charge of all of these, associations. And as we know, the king is the head of state. And, so there is a lot that has been going on in the world of our royals. Mm.
Yes, I know. I've been paying attention to your elections because um, we had a similar event ourselves when we had a change of government. It was just a drubbing, but the
Mm.
turn the we have compulsory voting in Australia,
Mm.
but I noticed the turnout in the UK was very low,
Mm.
so it's a little bit of a hollow victory. But I do, I mean, the new prime minister was a former Republican, so it's
Yeah,
yeah until he was knighted.
and surprisingly, okay,
Mm.
so obviously before we go into this, I think let's first welcome our viewers to
Yes, yes,
there.
sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
welcome.
getting carried away with ourselves.
Yes, welcome viewers to this Royal News Live. It is just a catch up with you, our dear friends, to let you into what has been going on in the world of our British royals. Here with me is the wonderful Catherine, as always. She is flying the British
Thank
royal
you.
flag across the
Mm.
pond in Australia. And yes, so we just wanted to come and share thoughts on what we think these events that have been happening so far have, the impact they have had, and the role our royals have been playing to sort of make these events successful. And we will start off with, of course, King Charles welcoming his new prime minister. Is that the fourth prime minister in a space of how many how many months?
Well, that's right,
Catherine?
because the Queen had 15 prime ministers, and her
Uh-huh.
last prime minister, the kissing of the hands, was just before she passed with Liz
Mm.
Truss. So
Yeah,
the king is becoming practiced at this because he had Rishi Sunak, and now is installed through an election, no less,
yeah,
a new
yeah.
prime minister. So he's
New
becoming a
prime
little bit of an
minister.
old hand like his mother.
It is indeed, because the last one
Mm.
his mother welcomed was what was her name? Liz Truss. I think
Liz.
was it Liz
Mm.
Truss?
Liz
Yes,
Truss. Yeah.
yes, Liz Liz Truss, that name.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she lasted about 45 days, it was.
And
And
she hasn't been re-elected. She's lost her seat.
she has
Mm.
lost the election, and a lot of other cabinet ministers have
Mm.
lost as well. So it goes to show how people have lost trust in the
Mm.
conservatives and how they have been long overdue to vacate power and probably hand it over to fresh minds, fresh people with fresh ideas. And the Labour Party have then, utilized that sort of low ratings for the Conservatives to come up
Mm.
huge surge in the amount of votes they received in the recent election. But it's very interesting to note that Keir Starmer now is the new prime minister, and as we know, he was an anti-monarchist, wasn't he?
Well, it just is so interesting because here in Australia, we've appointed a new Governor General,
Mm,
and the new Governor General, can you believe it? And a Governor General who is a Republican, and
mm,
yet she's been appointed to represent the monarch, to
mm,
represent
mm,
the British royal family. Uh, but even worse, her salary is the highest that's ever been allocated to a Governor General. So, on a number of fronts, it's a very controversial appointment. And
mm,
I don't think the government did itself any favors with the salary increase because of the time that we're living in, which you're experiencing in the UK as
mm,
well.
mm.
But why would you have an anti-monarchist as the representative of the monarch? It just
Exactly.
flies in the face of all logic.
It
But this is the
does.
kind of government we have.
Well,
But
yes,
you know,
yes.
your
What can
prime
we do?
minister is a knight, so
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
hardly going to go against his monarchy now.
No, no, he has to play by the game as well.
Hmm.
And this is the other thing with, being a prime minister in a monarchical sort of system, in a country like Britain, where
Yeah.
the system has for long been having a monarchy. And because when you are elected into power, hi, Princess. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. And every single one of you, by the way, who is on this live stream, we're so grateful for your time. So thank you so much. Wherever you are, sit back and enjoy this royal chit chat. We are going to be talking about everything British royal family and obviously what is going on across the pond with Meghan, Prince Harry, and all of that sort of thing. But yes, so what was I talking about? Keir Starmer, anti-monarchy.
Mm.
He used to be, but then he was, of course, knighted. So he's a son now. He has to play by the rules. He has to. Thank you so much for my cup of tea. There you go. Where's yours, Catherine? Mm.
How lovely.
Yeah,
How
it
lovely.
is.
That's
Yeah,
so kind.
yeah.
Yeah. You had your cup
So
of tea brought in.
a cup of tea, yes. Yeah. So King Charles, welcomes the new prime minister. He used to be an anti-monarchist in Keir Starmer, but he was knighted, so he accepted that knighting. Obviously, a sign that shows that he, is playing with the game. He's appreciating the work the royal family is doing. And when you come on board, regardless of your opinions as an individual, you have to serve the people, the country. And the people of the United Kingdom love their monarchy, they love their king. So you have to put aside your own sentiments and
Yeah.
opinions and embrace what the rest of the people believe in. So, and that explains why, when he won that election, Keir Starmer did, uh, he couldn't go into that office until he had to first go and pick up those keys from the king. Okay?
Mm,
Yeah, because he knows it is the
mm,
right procedure. He has to follow those procedures, regardless of whether he believes in the monarchy or not. Okay?
mm,
So,
mm,
but it's great to see that new government come in because I think it's bringing in freshness.
mm, mm.
There has been a
Yeah.
lot of distrust amongst the cabinet ministers, the politicians, the COVID, which was really mismanaged by
Yeah.
the conservatives. So they sort of brought this environment of negativity and all of that stuff with many people losing hope in the leaders. So with Keir Starmer, the Labour Party coming in, we hope. it is going to usher in a period of, hope, more positivity, and
Mm.
looking after people, because we know the economy has not been necessarily the best. And we hope that the
Well,
king can work with his new
yeah,
prime minister to bring that, to restore that happiness that we had lost. Mm.
I think you've hit the nail on the head because the COVID was mismanaged
Mm.
here as well,
Mm.
and it cost the former prime minister his job,
Mm.
and yet he was the first one to lock down the borders. So there
Mm.
were a few things he got right, but the mismanagement. The point I'm making is the mismanagement of COVID and the lockdowns. I don't know what they expected would happen afterward because now the economic situation is so dire that,
Mm.
I mean, our homelessness here in Australia is on the rise. And I've been looking at the figures in the UK, and they're increasing every year. And so I suppose a lot of people now are looking to Prince William with his documentary coming out,
Mm.
to see what he has on offer. What are your thoughts about? And it's a two-part documentary, I believe.
Mm.
Um, but what are your thoughts about um, Prince William's role in the Prince of Wales' role in that situation?
Okay, so of course, um, whatever Prince William is gonna be featuring in, he's the only royal that is left. Okay, as
Mm,
of Catherine and the Princess Anne, that people now are looking up to for that
mm,
inspiration. They are looking at him and Catherine as the future of the British royal family. And so, whichever documentary or whatever programs, campaign
mm,
that they are going to be involved in, the Earthshot projects, Catherine's Alias projects, those campaigns are ever going to be supported
mm,
by many people out there. And the other thing we know is that Prince William is such a good leader. He's very young.
yeah, yeah,
He's put
yeah.
himself forward as a
Mm,
force for good.
mm,
Recently, you
mm,
see when he's giving those speeches out on these engagements, the Earthshot Prize. He
yeah, yeah.
taking like a very, very strong, charismatic leader. So it is good to see these documentaries come up. We want to see more of him in those campaigns to try and bring back, restore that hope for the legacy to still stay, legacy that Queen Elizabeth left
Mm,
to, he's this man and Catherine that are supposed to continue with that legacy. So it is going to be very important for him to take part in all those projects. But also let us not forget on the other side, we have his brother, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, who are always coming up. They are also thinking about campaigns, documentaries, projects that will make them stay relevant. So, how does the royal family counteract that? By also coming up with, projects here, continuously throwing themselves out there with new ideas, supporting projects, not just here in the UK, but global projects. And this is what is going to make Meghan and Harry look like, that they can't cope, they can't catch up, and their work, Meghan and Harry's work, then will then be subdued by the great work for the royal
yeah.
family here. So I think it's positive news, and we would like to see all of those projects go ahead. Mm. But I
Yeah,
just wanted to take a moment and
I'll
show
go
you
on.
this
Yes.
because I think
Yeah.
could have how look at that.
Oh,
photo. So that
yes.
was the king meeting his new prime minister, Keir Starmer. And
Oh, do you know, I'll
this
tell you
photo is
something.
trending.
Well, when I saw that,
Mm,
I actually liked that photo, and it reminded me of the stability of the monarchy. Now, the monarchy, the British royal family is like any other institution. It's not perfect, but they've
mm,
had a run of prime ministers coming through for the kissing of the hands in recent years. And
mm,
we had a very unstable period where I think we had about four prime ministers in
mm,
one term.
mm.
And I thought to myself, that image there, also someone on Twitter I noticed complained about the lack of taste in the decor. And I couldn't help myself because, I thought to myself, and I said this, I said, it represents stability. You're stepping back in
It
time.
does.
This is the whole point of the monarchy. There are some things with the monarchy that it represents stability. It doesn't mean that the monarchy isn't open to change.
Mm,
But
mm.
look at that. To me, that when I look at that, what do I think? I think
Oh,
stability.
it is.
Yeah.
But see how King Charles looks. He
Yes.
looks amazing. He's actually looking at this shows that he is coping well with the treatment. We forget that he is still receiving his cancer treatment. Okay,
Mm,
so
mm.
it's good to see
Very
him
good.
look.
Very good point.
Yes, yeah. So when they put out photographs like these recent ones, they are communicating to us very subtly that yes, we are very strong. We are, we are overcoming, the health scares we had, because it could have just had a situation where, they would have maybe just um edited these photos, showed him with, Kirsten, but these are live photographs which were taken recently. So another positive we've taken out of these new changes with the prime minister coming in and all of that is the fact that we get to see images and recent appearances of the king and how he looks like. And,
Mm,
this shows how strong the royal family is really and how the doctors are working really well to ensure that the royal family members
mm.
are fit and healthy to carry out duties. Mm.
Oh, it's an excellent. I think it's an excellent illustration. I really like that photo, and I looked at it for quite a while, and I thought, now there it is. There, the public, the public voted for their. They voted. They had their say, whatever the level of the turnout. But why do we need to have a head of state when we have the monarchy? You don't,
Hmm.
if you are voting for a head of state, you're just voting for another politician,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I loved
I-
it. I really, and I love the decor. It reminds me of the late Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth.
It is the same decor,
Mm,
the carpet,
mm,
the chairs, and that little
mm.
desk in the
Yeah.
background. And what we have missed, obviously, are the Queen's dogs. That used because in this situation we would
Yeah.
see them running around and all of that sort of thing. So we miss that. But
Yeah.
I think King Charles is settling in very well and he seems to be
Yeah.
taking on these challenges with much more, prestige. Because he would
I
have
think
chosen
you're
throwing the
right.
towel. Yeah.
I was listening to an interview with Tina Brown recently. She wrote the Palace Papers and the Diana Chronicles, which I'm reading at the moment. And
Mm,
she said this before the Queen passed, but
mm,
then afterwards, I was interested to hear her post Queen's analysis, and she projected that Great Britain would go into a great period of instability after the death of the Queen, and that it would be a very difficult time for King Charles, the current
just to,
king. Yeah, but now she has a very different tune, and she was asked recently, what's your estimation based on what she had said prior to the Queen's death? And she had the most glowing report. She said, "Oh,
Mm,
I think," she said, because where she struggled was the Queen was always very political. He always had his say. He always involved himself in some, big ticket issues. But
mm,
she had a very glowing report, and
mm,
I was shocked to hear it.
mm, mm,
She said she couldn't have asked for more, and that if anything, the transition period
mm, mm,
from Queen Elizabeth II until the transition period with the King was seamless.
was seamless.
Was seamless.
Seamless.
I have to agree with her. I'm surprised.
Yes, King Charles, learned from the best, master in the world, the king. I mean, Queen Elizabeth prepared King Charles for how many years? 72 years,
Mm,
before, King Charles got to sit on that throne. So he also had, you know, taken in notes. He had studied how Queen Elizabeth used to relate with the public. And we should say that King Charles has transformed immensely.
mm, mm, mm,
He's you can see when he's out with the public that he has picked up these sort of small talks. Um, the ideas that Queen Elizabeth used to, how she led those visits, engagements with the small talks, making jokes here and there, interacting with people. King Charles used not to do that. He used to be, as a Prince of Wales, used to be very laid back, very reserved at times. He likes to speak from behind the scenes. But now you can see he has actually come out, and as years have gone by, he is the sort of monarch that uh, the Queen Elizabeth was in terms of engaging with people. And
mm. I think you're right.
and because we know that he's become a bit more honest. He's more, he's
Mm,
sharing quite a lot about himself. Probably things that Queen Elizabeth did not do so much, because the Queen kept us guessing, what's going on. But Charles has sort of opened himself up to sharing all his medical issues with the public and all of that sort of thing. In the past, we used not to get stuff like that. And I think the approach
yeah.
has worked for King Charles, because that then has led to so many people to sympathize.
Mm, mm.
Okay.
Well,
And
why do you think he has become more open? What do you think has contributed to that? Because it is unusual.
mhm. It is very unusual, but I think
Mm,
it's again the way in which we are moving. The times now have started requesting more transparency, more of that.
mm, mm,
Always questions like Queen Elizabeth passed on, and people started questioning what killed her, and what was she
mm.
suffering from. Why didn't you sort of give us a bit of an insight into what she was going through? So those questions were always being asked. And I think for King Charles now coming in, he wanted to sort of reduce on such questions coming up in future. But I
Yeah,
think for King Charles, everybody has their own personality. Now, King Charles' personality is a different one from the Queen. And also, I think he knew that for long people have been questioning. They used to call his fingers sausage fingers, or those things. So there have always been these questions being raised. What is he suffering from? What's going on? Tell us what's going on with King Charles's fingers and all of that sort of thing. So this for him was a way of taking a bit of shoulders off his weight and sharing that. And also it's because of the recent the cancer has become a big thing. It's really, every family is affected in one way or the other. People have lost their friends and relatives. And so there was a need for more campaigns, people coming out and talking about it. And I think he used this as an opportunity to show the public that he is, lining up behind, cancer treatment.
Mm,
It was
mm,
the right call to make, as in as much as many people later on said, I think that he shouldn't have done it. But I still think
mm,
it
mm.
was great for him to do it because, not only has it attracted more sympathy from the public
Yeah.
to the royal
Mm,
family, but King Charles has now been seen around the world as a leader, a good leader, who is working with the research groups, campaigners, and everybody to combat this terrible illness. Okay, so good for him. And of course, now
mm,
Catherine comes in as well and takes the same route. And I think you can see that King Charles softened that a little bit.
mm,
So when
mm,
comes in to declare, it's not like, oh, it's big, big, big news, shock to them because were already aware that even royals have, they are
mm.
human beings, just like
Yeah.
everybody else. Yes. But he's coping really well, and Catherine is also doing very well. We we have seen so many telltale signs of that with the messages she's been sending recently to because there's tennis going on here in Wimbledon. We know that Catherine is the chairman for the tennis association, so
Mm,
she's meant to be showing up at these games, but she hasn't been able. We know why. There is hope she will be showing up for the big games, maybe the finals for the women or the men's singles. So we are looking forward to that. And she's already started sending messages to all the others taking part in the sports.
yeah.
And well wishes she sent to Andy Murray, who is one of the British tennis stars who has decided to throw the towel in. Again, showing that she's working behind the scenes, and that she's doing very well with her health. The doctors are doing a great job there. Right, so we've got, okay, so
You have a
Sheila,
couple of comments.
yeah, I don't know how to like this. Maybe after the live is over. Hi, Elsie, and everyone on this live stream. Thank you so much for coming on here with us. Elsie, I think I actually don't know because my screen is quite a small one here, so I don't know. But you should have a like button somewhere. Hi, Lisa. Catherine, can you see what sort of picture are you seeing from your end?
Uh, I'm seeing all of the chats
Okay.
and I'm looking at a split screen,
Okay.
which you probably have as well.
Yes.
And yeah, but I'm just wondering how to do that as well. But up the top, I've got live, and then it says there are 7 likes, and there are
Okay.
70, 75, 77. It goes between that and just over 100 viewers. So
Okay. So that's
I don't
good.
quite know. I can't really, because I'm on the phone as well. I can't really
Yeah.
help you much. Sorry.
Yeah. Elsie asks, she doesn't know how to like this, but I've seen
Yeah,
7 likes there, so
yeah,
somehow there is a way to do it. Whether I think it depends on what device you have.
yes,
If those members that have liked this are maybe using their laptops, which could have more provisions,
yes.
I don't know really, Elsie, but it's great to see you there. Like a comment like that as well. It's very telling that we are
Lovely.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely. Thank you.
It's lovely
And
of you to.
yes, Elsie is a very great friend of ours, yeah, and so is Lisa, Princess Charlotte, Shelam, every single one of you that is always tuning in into these conversations. We truly appreciate your support. Okay, so Lisa is asking us what we are chatting about. Do you want to fill Lisa in? That on the
Yes. Well, we've been chatting about the kissing of the hands and basically what it will mean for the monarchy, having Keir Starmer as Prime Minister, who is known as a former
anti-monarchy.
anti-monarchist. But
Yes.
he's an interesting character because he was also a former prosecutor,
Mm,
leading prosecutor in the country. So he's an interesting, I think he's one to watch. I think he's a dark horse,
mm,
but I actually have to agree with Francis that he's going to be held captive by the institutions, and he may have some rattling of the cage on his backbenchers, etc. But he has to work within the system that he's been elected into. So
mm,
this is not the time for change, especially when there's so much support for the monarchy, but also a lot of sympathy for the king.
mm,
There's a
mm.
lot of sympathy for the king, and I can say I was never a big fan because I loved our former queen. I was never impressed with the Prince of Wales, but I'm very impressed, and I've become a little bit of, I won't say a fangirl, but I'm very touched by the way he held
Yes.
himself during Trooping of the Colour. It
Yes.
brought me to tears.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And he was the other day when he was having some conversations uh,
Mm,
during that state visit from the
yes.
Empress of Japan. So they were asking him how he is coping with his the reign itself, which is
Mm,
not as an easy one, especially as he took
mm,
over from um, a time which was very difficult with the Meghan
mm,
falling away and the despair, the Oprah Winfrey interviews, the naming of him and Catherine as people who supposedly raised those racist questions and all of that sort of thing. And these were lies that, of course, were setting him up on a very difficult reign. And what he said was, I'm getting on very well. Don't you see? I'm very strong. And he says, I've got very good people around me, and Catherine and Prince William, his sister, Princess Anne. These have really, really supported him to get him where he is. So Lisa said, sorry, I'm in America, so I have no idea about the kissing of the hand. Would you elaborate that for Lisa?
Oh, it's called the kissing of the hands. It's basically a transfer of power,
Mm,
and I can't. I was actually going to do a bit of research on it because it's rather quaint expression, but it's basically a handshake and
mm.
handing over the keys to number 10
Number 10.
Downing Street. So, but I'm sorry, I can't speak to the history of it, but it's really got me curious. The kissing of the
Yeah.
hands. It is essentially the handing over
The
of
handing
power.
over. Mm,
Yeah. The
absolutely.
Queen, she actually had 15 prime ministers, our former
Yes.
Queen, and
Yes.
her first prime minister was Churchill.
Churchill, yeah, the great year, and then
Mm,
right down to the last one was Liz Truss, I think. Was it Liz
yep,
Truss? Yeah, because I think shortly after we saw not Keir Starmer, Rishi Sunak coming in, and Rishi Sunak
yep,
of course, was not elected by the British public. There was a leadership contest within their party, the Conservative Party, who decided that Rishi Sunak stays on to complete their term. So it was great that they called a general election because the British public have always said they have a prime minister that they had not elected. Okay,
yes.
so Keir
Public don't
Starmer,
like that.
Yeah, and they didn't like it, and I think you saw that the results of this last election were really, really telling of how they were waiting on to that chance to nominate or to elect a leader that they believed in. So, Evie Rap, hello, thank you so much, Lisa. I hope Catherine has answered that. Wherever you're watching us
You have a
from, our
loyal
dear friends.
tribe. You have a
Yes,
loyal
yeah.
tribe, Francis.
Yes, we
And
have a
I'm
loyal.
Catherine. I'm on
Yeah.
a royal iota. So
Oh,
very nice
yes.
to see you all again.
Yes. Catherine's YouTube channel is, is also very steadily growing, guys. If you pop over and show some support and love. Catherine, shall we drop your channel name in the comments section when we come
Yes,
live? So it's
yes.
Arroyo Iota.
Yeah, we probably should do that in future. I'm sorry, sorry, gang. But it's just a royal iota,
Iota.
iota in as in the tiniest, tiniest corner of the internet. It's
Yes.
one of the reasons I chose it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although the
So,
royal family is a big topic. You mentioned Catherine. I actually thought her her message to the retiring tennis player was hopeful. It seemed to be a signal that she was going to be around for Wimbledon. And also, it was at the same time William was at the football in Dusseldorf. And it
yes.
was a little bit like the team are back in town. That's how it felt, that
Oh,
the
yes.
Wales's team are back in town.
They are working so perfectly behind the scenes. Catherine is,
Mm.
William is stepping out. Before we go into that, let's look at what Princess says here. Thank you for your service. As always, I'm hoping you go on the vintage, read and talk about your time serving. K with Shona K. Yes, so sounds like an interesting idea. And thank you so much for for the support. And of course, you see the photo there at the back.
Tell
That
us about tell us about it. How did you become a Queen's Guard? What happened
oh,
there?
oh so, so interesting. Growing up, of course, I've always, uh, you know, I think the royal family is something I've always admired. I've looked at how they are very well known around the world. Buckingham Palace, people visiting these royal palaces. And then Princess Diana and her death around that time, the royal family became very pronounced and people were talking a lot about them. So the funeral of Princess Diana, and then I see the guards standing, I was very young, very, very young at the time.
Did you
Because I,
train for that? Were you involved in
yes,
training for this
yes,
role?
yes, I was. So this role, as you can see, these are trained soldiers, very, very trained soldiers, who go to Afghanistan and all those places to represent British interests, and they fight alongside the American, Australian, Canadian troops, in all those foreign missions that they are posted on. So we very much did all of that. And when we are not there, of course, we are at Buckingham Palace guarding the Queen.
Oh, wow.
So,
You must have been absolutely amazed to find yourself
oh,
doing
ah,
something you only dreamt about.
this is an experience I will never forget. This is going to live with me. So, this photo was taken on the day of the passing out parade. So, this was 2010. And this is when I had now finished my full training. Training started in 2009, and 2010 I was a confirmed British soldier who has undertaken 26 weeks of intense training, learning how to fire your weapon, guarding the Queen, and patrols and all of that sort of thing. The map reading, and all of that is incorporated into this intense 26 infantry training skills, course. And after that, then I was posted to my regiment, which was the Irish Guards. And the Irish Guards, lucky for me at the time, we had Prince William as the chief for the Irish Guards. And, he was very young at the time, probably same age as me. Okay, so he was very inspiring to all of us coming there, inspecting us, and since then, my love for the royal family, for service, has been on the constant increase. And up to now, I left because of, uh, as all the roles within the army rotate around personal fitness,
Yes.
and
Mm.
especially in these very, very active roles. So you start to fall back in fitness, and then there are support plans within the army to help people who are now starting to think, right, I think these roles are becoming very aggressive, and they are for the young boys, who are coming in, so they help us to transit into civilian life, giving us all this
Ah.
we need. Yeah. So after my
Mm.
6 years of service, I had to leave. And unfortunately for me, I joined the army when I was slightly in the later years, so I wasn't
Mm.
getting any younger. So 6 years of service for me was enough. So then I could live in my full sanity, because the pressures involved with
Yeah.
being a
Yeah.
serviceman. Hmm.
Tell
But
me, were
yes.
you trained? Because you see a lot of the public and tourists in particular, they want photos with the guards and or their horses. And were you trained in the area of dealing with the public when you were on guard like that? Was that also part of the training?
Yes, it was very much so.
Mm.
And we used to see videos, and then they used to show these to us of moments
Mm.
when public got so close and got a bit funny with the guards, and sometimes making those little jokes, and being disruptive of the guards while they were on duty. So we were trained on how to deal with that. And of course, you
Mm.
have that weapon system when you stood there with that bayonet, the bayonet thing, that sharp knife
Mm.
on there. So that is on there, not just for us to use it in a way that is going to be harming people, but it's the sense of security to those who are coming there to make those funny jokes and become a risk to us, that, hey, we have this weapon system that we can use to defend ourselves. Okay.
So
And
did you meet the Queen? What
I
about
did. Oh, I
like
did. I
oh,
did.
tell us,
How can you not?
spill the tea.
How can you not? My closest moment with her was when I was stood on guard. I wish I could pull that photograph up. So I stood on
Next
guard.
time.
Yeah, next time. I was stood on guard at Windsor Castle, because we change these guard duties. So one day you find yourself at Windsor Castle, the other day they send you on a guard duty at the Tower of London, the St James Palace,
Wow.
Buckingham Palace. So I used to love Windsor Castle guards quite a lot, because not only were our battalion was right next door to Windsor Castle, the Irish Guards, we were based at the Victoria Barracks, which is right outside Windsor Castle. So it was easier
Okay.
to match ourselves up to into the castle and stand guard on the sentry boxes. So one day I was stood guard on a sentry box, which is the other side of the castle, and this would be the exit for the queen as she takes her dogs out for the walk. Because the castle is huge, and behind there she would come out and let her dogs run around for a bit. So the corgis, I think she had three of them at the time. But so the very closest I came to her, I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything, because you're stood there like that, okay, with your weapon, and you actually want to
Oh,
appear more stiffer when she's
oh,
around,
oh,
chest out,
gosh,
you know.
how wonderful.
yeah, so one of her dogs comes running it through my legs. So you stood there like that. So the dog, the smallest one, comes running through my legs and sniffs my boot. And she comes and says, hey, come on, let's go. Come, let's go. Leave the man to do his job. So, and then she says to me that I hope this is not making it difficult for you. I hope my dog is not making your work difficult for you today. So she whispers that to me as she's trying to get her dog away from me. And so I heard that. And of course, I can't say anything back because I'm on duty. You have this cup chain, which is, the cup chain you wear holding your
Yeah,
belly
yeah.
chain. So you have it very tight there, holding your lips up. You can't say nothing. But I, of course, using my forehead and my eyes, you can't look her in the eyes. That's not allowed. You never look a monarch in their eyes. You look up here when they are speaking to you. You look them here. So I just gave her a nod that, no, I'm okay. Don't worry. I'm
Mm,
loving it. So, but that was the
mm.
closest I came to her, and not just once, but about 3 times. And I happened to be on that sentry box quite a lot.
Oh,
So I would look forward to those moments. But then again, we did the was it the platinum jubilee, the service. Again, there was a bit of inspecting of us. And even before that, we have the St. Patrick's Day. We had the Queen's birthday parades. I think I did around 3 in my time of service. And these Queen's birthday parades, of course, you would have the Queen, inspect you on the day. She would be, driven, or I she used to sit in that horse carriage, okay? So she would be wheeled around us on the square in the horse guards parade. You stood there, and she's being wheeled around. So you're standing and you see her being wheeled around. She's going past you. So we were that close to her. And of course, while we were in Windsor Castle, we have what they call a guard room. This guard room is within the palace inside. So when you're not on duty, you're in the guard room. In there, we had a screen, and we used to watch a lot of Simpsons on the screen. This time. So we sit there in this guard room or sitting area after duty in the evenings when the sentry boxes are closed. Because these guards are 48-hour guards, sometimes 70
Mm,
hours. So in the night,
mm.
you're inside the castle, whether you're stationed at Buckingham Palace or St. James. You're inside, yes, the guard room, yeah, guard room. Sorry, Lisa, it's a guard room where all the guards sit when they are chilling out. They are not on duty. So in the evening, we used to sit in the guard room watching Simpsons, this cartoon on TV, and sort of chilling out and waiting for next day. And then we could see sometimes the Queen walk in, surprisingly. Hello, are you okay? You know, and she's just checking in on her soldiers, on her guards to see if we are okay. Or sometimes you would hear her speak in the next room talking to the officers on duty. And so it was like normal to be in that environment. And the rehearsals in the night, some of these, because you never do events without rehearsing in the army. So they were very much part of these rehearsals. So she would walk in with her veil, she's covered herself in the middle of the night to check on how the rehearsals are going.
Wow.
She was a very, very hardworking woman. Even in her later years, she showed a lot of interest in the work her guards were doing. So,
Well, I imagine you all felt, apart from the culture of in which you were working, but I imagine there was a lot of loyalty. There was a strong bond with Her Majesty.
yes.
The guards would have felt I can only imagine very, very loyal. If I'm
Very.
just assuming.
Oh yes, yes, very, very loyal. And I think
Okay.
if everybody wanted uh, to be called, the name was Queen's Guards. The name Queen's Guard. King's
Okay.
Guard now is is
Yeah.
still this is still not making a lot of sense to many. So they still, even when Queen Elizabeth is not here, they still want to be called Queen's Guards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's such
Hmm.
an honor. I mean, it's an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yes,
There's
yes.
no overstating it. No overstating
No,
it.
no. Thank you guys for the likes and for the love and for staying here with us. As Paya says, I saw Seamus in person last year when I visited London. Beautiful dog. The ravens at the Tower of London. Yes, these places are beautiful. The Tower of London, and so when you come to to visit, you connect with the royals. There is a chance you will run into one of the royals being driven out or coming inside. And
Mm.
the Tower of London, where there is all the jewels and all of that sort of thing, it's brilliant to visit. The sentry boxes are literally that very close, so you can see the guards being changed, and you could say your hellos, although you might not get a hello back, but you are that close to the guards when you
It's
visit.
incredible.
It's lovely. My highlight, I think, in the army was the William and Catherine's wedding, which we did in 2011,
And
April
you
the
were there
16th.
too.
I was part of the 50 Guard of Honor, 50 soldiers who did the Guard of Honor for the Prince
Tell
and
us
Princess
about
of
that.
Wales. It was brilliant. It was a day that we prepared for. Don't forget, we had just come back from Afghanistan at that time. So the
Okay.
trauma, the fatigue, and all of that sort of thing. But we were again chosen. A few of us within the regiment we are chosen to prepare, to rehearse, to be the ones that are going to do the guard of honor in front of Buckingham Palace for William and Catherine as they wave to the crowds and for the fly past. So we were the guys who were going to be lining up at the forecourt. And the rehearsals were interesting because William was part of those rehearsals. 4 a.m. in the middle of the night, marching down and up the mall in London, rehearsing what we will be doing in about 6 hours' time, 7 hours' time. So even 7 hours to Prince William's big day, the wedding, he was with us in those rehearsals. Showing support for all of us, but also thanking us for making, his day a success. So that is the highlight of my service in the army, being able to be there at the wedding of the future king and queen, and not just standing there for the guard of honor, but also behind the scenes, listening into the conversations. And he was, of course, having those chats with the officers who were running the rehearsals, saying how he was very much looking forward to the wedding and how he was a little bit nervous. And so you
Well,
get to
you've
hear
lo-
this.
you've well, you would have picked up a lot of skills life skills that
Mhm.
you cannot get under any other circumstance. You can't. Those life skills that it's equipped you with, I would imagine, make you very employable.
Yes, yes. And this is the thing. So it is, let me see how many years, 13 years since they were
Wow.
married. And for me, as a person who was there on their wedding day up to now, to see them that they are still very strong in love, their relationship is getting
Mm,
stronger and
mm.
stronger is amazing because we know that marriages within the royal family have not been that stable. We know very much, the divorce and issues, So we we sort of weren't very sure how far they could go, given the history we know. But they have actually surprised all of us, and I think for them
Yes.
it's because these two were deeply in love. Catherine took her time to understand what she was coming into, and she was raised from a family that is very loving, caring, and so she knew coming into this relationship what she was going to be, uh, having to uh, cope with, and that has helped her to still stay in that relationship. The pressures of not just being a wife to the future king, but also um, having some sort of role. You go out, deal with the public, make those speeches. There's a lot that they do. And it's also great to see how Catherine has grown, how William has supported her to become confident on these engagements, giving those speeches. She's raising a future king as well as being married to the future king himself. So she's taking on a lot as a woman who is married into the royal family, and she's coped with that very, very well. But so it's for me, who was there on their day of the wedding, to see them still going
Incredible.
strong now is incredible, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful, wonderful,
Yes, and
wonderful experience.
Princess Charlotte here says, please hit the like. Yes, please do. Let's keep these likes going, guys. Your support is immense. We have such a loyal audience here,
You do
Catherine.
have a very loyal
Yeah,
following.
yeah. Thank
A
you,
lot of
guys. Truly, truly appreciate.
lovely comments there.
Hmm.
Talking about Prince Catherine, Princess of Wales. Um, I think that what we see with her is she was willing to learn.
Hmm.
She listened. She was prepared to learn. She invested herself in. Um, a lot of people think that some royal duties are dreary, but she invested in all of that, and I think it's also part of her personality and her nature, this inner poise and elegance that she projects. But she learned from the best. She learned from the Queen herself. But also, her and William seem to be a match made in heaven. They're just, it's incredible that they really are standing the test of time.
Oh, they are, yeah, and their competitive nature out on
Yeah.
engagements, involved in the little runs, kicking the ball and all of that sort of thing. These little, you know, relationship moments between themselves out there are very telling of the sort of people they are behind the scenes.
Mm.
Very, very playful with each other. They always give us those little hints of the too much love between themselves whenever they step out on engagements. But she was from a family that was very much loving. The Middletons, they raised their family as a very one together family with those good values. And this is what William needed as well, especially as he grew up in a family where we know his father, Princess Diana, they were always away on trips and all that sort of thing. So she filled that sort of void that William missed when they were growing up. And it was also very interesting because even as we speak right now, their family, the Middletons, are very close to the royal family. So they are quite often um, inviting William and Kate and the kids to go over, spend some time. Catherine goes there, takes the children. And during this time when Catherine has been struggling with her, with the cancer situation, we know there have been days she has had to spend those at
Mm.
her family with
Mm.
that support of her mom and dad. Okay, so they are very, very much a loving family, and that has
Mm.
fed into the success of Catherine as a
Mm.
you know, as a married person to a very, very busy institution as we know it. And
I think you hit on a really important point there about family because we see, and it was so public, it was so sad, the public nature of the breakdown of William and Harry's parents. But I think William clearly, because the Middletons were in the royal box at Ascot, he
Mm.
clearly values them. He clearly really holds them close, doesn't he?
Oh yes, yes. They always invite the
Mm,
parents to the party.
mm,
They're always everywhere.
mm,
And Lisa here makes a very important point, and she says that Catherine's training started long before she met Prince
I agree
William.
with
Yes,
that.
very much so, yes. And William was training at Sandhurst, and Catherine used to come and see William training. Oh, while they were still boyfriend and girlfriend. During
Mm,
that time,
yeah,
Catherine was under intense training, scrutiny, and to make sure she was the right person for this role.
yeah.
Lisa asked a question we might have missed. You thinking Richard actually put his brother and the two children in the Tower of London? I will leave that to you, Catherine.
I saw that. I left it
Yeah.
to you.
Uh,
But I'm going to actually research that for our next live.
yes,
I was
yes, you
hoping
do.
you're so cheeky. You slipped
Yeah.
out of that one. Richard
Yeah.
put his two children. Okay,
So,
I give
so
you
we
my word. I
research
will
that.
research it. Yeah,
Yes.
because
And
that's my background is worked in research. So put
yeah.
his children in the tower. Oh,
Yeah, so we research
you're
on that. The
so
Catherine is
cheeky.
working on a very important project, so that could fit into your project, Catherine. Yeah, thank you for the question. We have Aspire RN says Princess Catherine is wonderful with children when she does her public
Mm,
duties. Absolutely. And I think everybody knows how great a mother she is, not just to her own children, but, even to the kids around the world. Her early years projects, for example, looking at the first 5 years in a child's development, which are very, very important. Now, she wasn't thrown into that role because, yeah, she's a princess. They had to carve out a role for her. She went into that sort of area within the bigger royal family because she is naturally a very loving, kind, and very, very responsible mother who wants to support other mothers out there. She's a very
mm,
hands-on person. I mean, the royal
yeah.
family have all the resources and they can afford
Mm,
to have nannies doing
mm,
everything. But Catherine is a very hands-on person. She does her work around her children, from bedtime stories to cooking to dressing them up for school and all of that sort of
mm,
thing. So you can see that she is naturally a very loving and kind individual. And again, it fits in well with the family she
mm.
comes from. Okay. So Lisa says, been watching Wimbledon, hope she can show up for a second. She will show up definitely. I think she might be showing up for the finals of either the women's singles or the men's singles. Okay, so she has been showing hints of that coming up in the messages she's been sending to all the participants, that she wishes them well and she hopes to see them later on in the tournament, meaning that whether when they if they get to those later stages and maybe play in the final, she will be able to hand over that trophy to any who would have won. Okay, so hi Heather from US. Thank you for joining us. And thank you. I can't read your names. Markham Waynet. Can you read that last name, Catherine? Jesus
The
Christ
last name.
loves you. Yes. Hi.
Oh, yeah, he does. I love that.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There
Thank
is a
you.
question right back at the beginning that we've missed.
Yes.
Uh, it's about Tom Quinn writing. Oh, here it is. It's from Lisa H. What do you
Mm.
think of Tom Quinn writing a story about how hurt Megan is that no one that no one appreciates her work? Oh, for crying out loud! I nearly swore then.
Yeah.
Oh, for goodness sake! I mean, look, there's a lot of stuff coming out of her camp about how she feels. She wants to sit down and talk about things. She wants to work through the rift. It's just all nonsense. She's
Mm,
just looking to stay in the news. But I'll tell you something that's got my attention was an interview with Hugo Vickers on The Sun. He was talking, I think his name is Matthew. He's an editor with The Sun, and it's got my attention because he spoke with confidence, and he's a very, very respected royal biographer and
mm,
writer and commentator. And he says that Harry will be coming home. He thinks he will be back home on his own under
mm,
10 years,
mm,
and the king has kept the door open. Now, there's been a lot of stories of this nature running the rounds, okay? And the media are always um, rattling the chain on this one. But he said he was really sure of it. He said, no, he's coming back. He has spoken with his father, and he talks with his dad from time to time. His dad gets on the phone, but I
mm,
imagine they were at really, really low points and probably more of a intervention.
mm.
Um, but I think he's right. I think because it seems like it's doing the rounds. This business with Megan's puff pieces, they're all rubbish. I wouldn't even use them for toilet paper, to be honest.
Mm,
But the story about Prince Harry, I think's got some legs, and I think he wants to come home. I think he's out of his depth. I think he was never going to make it in America because he was a fish taken out of his water. He was taken out of his goldfish taken out of his bowl, and it's never going to work. Never. Well, tell me,
absolutely.
what do you think? Do you think he'll
Oh,
be back?
yes. No, no, you're right. You're right in what you have said. And obviously, for us who are here on ground, we see this as something which is we are heading down there. Prince Harry will come back here, and what it was going to be just a matter of time. And you're very
Mm.
right when you said he was a fish taken out of his pond, because we know how everything was always done for Prince Harry here. You know, the, everything right from where do I start from? Everything was done
Yes,
for Prince
yeah.
Harry, and we know that he didn't go far with his education. So that is not to say that okay, if he was educated he would be better than anybody else. No, it's because that would have given him a certain level of understanding where he would be able to look at decisions he takes. It
Yeah.
would help him with how he takes on advice. It would give him a better sense of judgment and a lot of that. But just like we see his brother Prince William, with how he deals with issues, with situations, having that good sense of judgment, so Prince Harry didn't get much of that. His grades were not that good, so he dropped out of school, and the royal family was actually struggling to carve out a role for Prince Harry because of that. So we had these mental health campaigns heads together where they thought, right, okay, so we are going to use Harry here, you know, and so that this was designed by Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Prince William got onto it, and Harry came into the mix, and they were driving this very, very well. The Heads Together mental health campaign, and this is where Prince Harry was going to probably get a role and try and have something that he's doing, and then the whole thing collapses when Meghan Markle comes in. And
Mm.
this is
Mm.
because when Megan came in, she now wants to put her own topping on this charity and wants to her ideas to be seen and be considered and all of that sort of thing. And she now starts looking at Catherine as a threat, and
Mm, mm,
and so it collapses, and she starts sweet talking Prince Harry in a way that wasn't going to help Prince Harry at all. You know what? I don't think they are doing anything for you. You are in the shadows of your brother. Blah, 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 all of that sort of thing. So Harry gets manipulated, and of course she plays via Prince Harry's emotions, because Prince Harry is just like that. Anything small can convince him. So she managed to do that and took Prince Harry away. But coming back to Prince Harry, I mean Prince William,
mm,
with his education, and how that has actually carved him up as a very responsible person, with
mm.
he's now able to drive those projects forward. His Earthshot project, which is a big environmental project, stems from the fact that you know he did a degree in geography and the environment,
Yes.
and so that fits in well with what he's doing.
Yeah.
Catherine, Princess of Wales, with her degree again, all of that feeds into what they are doing. They know how, to write those proposals, projects, to interpret information, and so those can work independently. Whereas Prince Harry can't do that, and because he
Mm.
left an institution that was doing everything for him to go out there in United States, we always knew he was going to struggle. We always
Yeah.
was going to have to rely on other people to drive his missions, whatever missions he had forward. And these were wrong people. I mean, Meghan Markle, very cunning, as you know she is. She did these international relations and all of that sort of thing. But that hasn't really helped her so far, because she has used it against the
Mm.
royal family instead of using it in a way that is going to benefit the royal family. So we knew it's going to be a matter of time, and Prince Harry will be collapsing and coming back. The big question
Mm.
is whether he can put his ego aside and accept that, he's become a failure out there, and that he needs to apologize. He needs to come and tell his family here that, you know what, I was in a bad space. So the steps and decisions I've been taking were wrong. I was manipulated, and whether he can do that is the big question.
Yeah.
And but we know he will be coming back with it. And when he comes back, I don't think he's going to come back in a capacity where he'll be able to serve and to work
No.
royals again. No, because I
Mm.
don't think he can be trusted.
Mm.
And the damage is that he's done with his wife, it is quite a lot. The
Mm.
spare. You
Mm.
can't pull that off the shelves unless he comes in and says spare was a mistake. These were all lies. Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, it just buries him. That book buries him. I'm doing a series of podcasts. I'll tell you what I find disconcerting about this book. It's not Harry's voice. Harry,
Mm,
he speaks about the school he went to. It was, had grounds and football fields, tennis courts. It had a huge library, but you'll never find me in there reading a book. And I find, and this is what I actually find, this is the voice of his writer. It's not Harry's voice, because someone who reads can reach into themselves and they can pull out language to speak to a situation. This language in this book is the language of a thinker. It's the language of someone who spends time out in nature and looks at the birds and thinks and muses. I found this book really incongruent, and apart from that, it's Harry is it spoke about his dad exercising in his boxer shorts on his doing headstands. It spoke about how they counted how many people were circumcised at the school and they had a name for them. Spoke about how they mocked a staff member at the school who was disabled. He will be haunted by this for
He
the rest of
will
his
be.
days.
He will be. And it has
It's not good.
painted him a person who is actually didn't have that second sense of right.
No, no.
What is this? How will this really impact me going forward? And so he hasn't looked at that. Like we said, his sense of judgment on a number of things is zero. So he says he was in Afghanistan and how he killed 25 people in Afghanistan. And I mean, who can say that all of that is
Yeah,
right in plain black and white? You can't pull that out. You can't pull the book down. It's gone. It's traveled the world. They've paid you a lot of money. If you pull this book down, it means actually returning all that has been paid to you. They can't afford to do that. So this damage he's caused to himself and the royal family is far too much that it has actually led to his demise in one way or the other. But we have Princess Harlot here who says that, will you please repeat Catherine's YouTube channel again? Okay,
oh,
so
thank you.
mm,
It's a royal iota, a royal iota, one word. Iota as in tiny speck of a mustard seed.
yeah, IOTA,
Thank you
isn't
for
it?
asking. I'm on
Yes,
TikTok as well, but
yeah.
thank you for asking. I
I
really
think we'll put
appreciate it.
that in the comments. When we
Yeah,
come up the
yeah,
live, you will stick it down in the comments
really
section
sweet.
below. I
Mm,
will. Yes, that's really good of you, Princess. Thank you for
thank
insisting.
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so we've got lots of good comments here from our
Mm,
lovely friends. Heather, he can only go back without his wife. I agree.
yeah, yeah,
Harry won't put his ego aside 100%. I don't think he will ever leave her. That's Lee Haynes. This is something that everybody is actually saying because Prince Harry is like he's made
yeah,
his bed and
yeah,
is going to be forced to lie in that bed, forever.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Uh,
it actually, the conversation really evokes very strong feelings.
yes, yeah.
Very, very strong feelings from royal watchers.
Yeah, and then we have princesses. Madame is the worst international relations degree recipient I've ever seen. I mean, I can't agree more with
Mm,
these
mm,
comments here. And then we have Heather again. What he did to his grandparents is despicable, and we all know how that is actually despicable. So we really agree with that. The Queen was at the time. She was
mm.
in her very final
Yeah.
days, and for them to sit on that interview and talk her monarchy down and accuse the future king, accuse the future queen and the future king, and accuse the queen as well, and in that
Oh,
way they mocked her in that courtesy, the courtesy Meghan Markle did in front of Prince Harry. Prince Harry saying absolutely nothing, seeing Meghan Markle mock a grandmother who loved Prince
mm,
Harry so
mm.
much. All of those things are things that are always going to haunt Prince Harry. Okay.
Oh, it's just awful.
Yeah.
Their behavior has been despicable
Oh,
and
and
ungrateful. I think the thing that really gets in my core is the lack of gratitude.
mm,
The Queen gave them the Commonwealth. She said, go through the Commonwealth, carve out a role for yourself. And it's too late now. They're trying to do that with their recent trip to Nigeria. It's too late. It's all
it's
gone.
it's
Everything
all
that's
gone.
handed to them is lost.
It's all gone. And these people, these countries read. They know what's going on in the world of Meghan
They're
and
not
Harry.
stupid.
They are not stupid. So
No.
there is always going to be that
Mm,
very low support for these two moving forward. Look at the projects Megan has been driving forward. The Spotify, which crumbled down because she couldn't even get the guests to come onto her show because all of them were not interested. She apparently wanted Taylor Swift to come on one of her podcast series. Taylor Swift said no. And, Taylor Swift has openly showed her support to the royal family last
Mm,
week.
mm.
The other day, she was with Prince Harry, Prince William, showing support to them. So we know how she struggled to cope, to drive those projects. The strawberry orchard, whatever jam she's selling, which has never taken off. The Netflix series, which hasn't done any which hasn't gone anywhere, their documentary which is struggling in ratings. Even David Beckham's is way up there. So this is very telling of how their activities are not being supported because of what they did to the family that really wanted them a lot. Okay.
Well, the Commonwealth was the Queen's project.
Yeah.
That this is what astonishes me, and even there's countries that want to join the Commonwealth. Whatever Megan said about the Commonwealth being Empire 2.0 or whatever nonsense she was pulling out of her hat that day, um, the Commonwealth was the Queen's project. She was very proud of the Commonwealth, and she said, go through the Commonwealth, carve out a role for yourself. What a gift. And it was like thrown
Abigail,
in her face.
I'm telling you, they threw away the biggest
Yep,
opportunity to make a
yep.
difference. And I don't think they
Mm,
can ever get a chance that huge. Meghan
mm,
Markle would have been in 100% better positions than she is in today if she stayed here, if she stayed loyal, if she supported the royal family instead of fighting against it. But because of um, uh, her interest for fame, for popularity, for money,
mm,
those sort of things, and how she saw herself as not being able to achieve those things, working under the
mm,
hierarchies of the
mm.
family, have led to her demise. Okay, so for Harry now, it is a matter of time on
Yes, yes.
whether he is actually going to put his ego on the side to come back and say, right, I was in a bad space. He did not take advice from his brother, Prince William, from the Queen, because they sat him down and said, listen, you're rushing into this relationship. Have you taken
Mm,
time
mm.
to fully understand this lady's background? Okay, have you taken time to meet her family? Have you done all those things you should do before committing yourself to such? Because marrying someone is a huge step.
Oh,
What does Prince Harry say? They don't want me to marry a woman of my life. She goes in spare. She talks about how her brother never wanted, was against him marrying the love of his life, and how Prince William married Catherine because Catherine, not for love, but because of whatever. Catherine was only got for William, but there wasn't any love at all. So you could see how he used that against Prince William and
mm,
just to
mm.
try and tarnish the image of his brother. So these things are always going to come back and haunt Prince Harry. And so
Oh,
it's going to be a matter of
yeah,
time.
it's all there.
It's
That
all
was his
there.
death warrant.
Oh my.
That was his death warrant. I was aghast. Aghast. I love that word. Um, I was shocked at
Mm,
what he's included in this book. I can't believe it, but he will never be a working royal again. That does bring into question, though, because I think, apart from William being hurt, I think Catherine was deeply wounded by Harry, the way their Sussex squad, they set their dogs onto Catherine. And I think they're never going to be able to come back from that. They can't trust their children around them, and they will never expose their hearts to those barbs from Harry ever again. And
mm,
he will be persona non grata, but it does raise the question because I'm not in the school of thought that um, Meghan will divorce him. I don't believe she will because he's the biggest meal ticket she'll ever find.
mm.
But I wonder, I mean, divorced couples do look at, oh, well, I mean, Sarah and Andrew are not a very good example. They are divorced, but they're living under the same roof.
They are.
But yeah, but divorced couples do live their separate lives, and I think he'll come back, but
Mm.
I'm not sure they'll ever get divorced. I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
Okay, part of the worries I think for Prince Harry is how much he would have to fork out to pay. I know that there
Mm.
might be a clause um that says, if they divorce, there won't be any pay of any sort of anything like that.
Okay.
Because Harry, what does he own? All
Oh,
these
wow.
properties, whatever properties that are passed on from kings to future, So I mean, Prince William will of course assume all this, property when he
Mm.
becomes king, and then that will transfer to George. And so technically, if there was some sort of divorce going on, Meghan can't expect Prince Harry to pay out or to give
Yeah.
some of those
Yeah.
things to Meghan because Harry owns nothing. Okay. However, there
That's
will be a
good.
huge cost expenses with the children, Harry having to pay
Mm.
money for the child support, those things. Meghan will use these kids as will transfer these kids into assets that will want to be fed lots and lots of money from Harry should they divorce. And of course, there will be a problem with the kids, whether Prince Harry
Mm.
will have those kids, is the other big question. So I think he's sitting back and thinking about all of that and how complicated things will be should he table that divorce. In as much as I think he would love to do it, then the other question is, of course, Prince Harry's ego and
Yes.
how he thinks
Yes.
the world will look at him after he
Mm.
had failed to take advice that that woman wasn't the right choice for you. Okay, so he's worried of that biting
Mm.
him. So he always wants to come across as he's right, he made the right call, and he loves his wife. But we all can see that these people are struggling. And of recent, we have seen them very
Mm.
quiet. The ratings are going low
Yeah.
and low. Uh, there are aspects of Prince Harry being, you see them out on engagement. He's more or less
Mm.
become a man who is called the handbag holders or is
Mm.
holding Meghan's handbag behind the scenes, just following, as opposed to being at the front.
Yeah.
We see royal because he's still a royal. He is still a
Yeah.
royal. If he's stepping out on engagements, we should see more of him at the front,
Mm.
and Meghan following by. But we see Meghan at the front. She's the one doing the handshakes, and Prince Harry's in the background holding the handbag. So he's a very sad man when you look at him. And he misses the sort of treatment he used to have when he was here. Very
Yeah. Mm.
respected. His ratings were at some point even higher than the Queen herself. But all of
Mm.
that has since gone down the drain. So it is going to be
Yeah.
very interesting to see where this
I
whole thing.
think so. Yeah. I think how he lands is going to be um, watchable. You know what struck me though, he speaks about his mother frequently, as you well know. She's nearly on every page. So, but William's approach is so different. Remember when she took them to introduce them to some homeless people? She took them to charities. She took them to shelters. And Harry can't stop talking and raving and ranting about his mother. But William's just quietly going about fulfilling his mother's wishes, with
Exactly.
this homeless project.
Exactly.
He's not
Without blowing
he's
the
not
trumpet.
screaming about it. He's just doing his job.
Absolutely. He's doing the job. He's actually living a more exemplary life to what his mother did than Harry
Yes.
is. Okay. Uh, when you look at what's their project, Actual, the
Yeah, the
Actual
Archewell
Foundation,
Foundation.
it is even struggling to find donors simply because
Mm,
they can't trust in them. They can't, and this is where we could see them making more of an impact, going to schools, educating young ones, sensitizing them and all of that sort of thing. But they are struggling in doing
yes.
that. And then we see down here Prince William, who is flying high. You see Catherine, Princess of Wales, emulating exactly what Princess Diana used to do, very bonding
Yeah.
with the kids, with children. Okay, and I think Meghan is jealous of all of this. Prince Harry,
Mm, mm.
she thinks she's the one who is. Meghan always thinks she's the Princess Diana. Of course, she will never be. And she was telling us of how she went to Princess Diana's grave and got this blessing.
Oh, it's embarrassing. It's
Yeah,
so
I got this
embarrassing.
blessing, and
Oh my God.
and clearly telling us that she is the chosen one to live Princess Diana's life, but she's not. And look, Catherine is not blowing any trumpets about it, but they are the ones that are actually doing the great work. And
Mm,
Princess Diana, had she been here, would actually be looking at Catherine and feeling very proud. Okay.
mm.
I don't think any grandmother or any mother in law would want to see a daughter in law who takes away a husband away from their family and makes the husband turn against his own family. Okay.
Mm,
So she came
mm.
in, took Harry away, took the children away. They are not seeing their grandparents. And so she is doing all the wrong things. Have we got any comments there?
Yeah,
So
we
go.
do. We do.
Mm.
Mentioning about Archewell, CCC,
Yes.
Archewell and their 14 companies and Doria's company all need investigated by the tax man. All our money laundering. I actually wonder about that too. But you're
Mm-hmm.
right, and I think most of their finances, all their foundation, everything was set up in Delaware. I think that's a tax haven of the US. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they're going to be hard to pin down. I mean, the Biden family, all the big big crime families, they've
Mm-hmm.
all got their financial interests established in Delaware. They keep Diana's hair by their bedside. Yeah, I know. That's Lee Haynes, Doria. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it was a good point you bring up about the Archewell Foundation because they've obviously tried to model it on the foundation previously that was running very well until they split it with Harry and William. But William's just getting about. He knew this issue was close to his mother's heart, so
Mm-hmm.
he's followed it up. He's followed it up. And
Yeah, yeah,
that to me, he doesn't talk about his mother. He rarely mentions her. He just
yeah,
follows up on his mother's heart and
yeah. It
what
does.
lit her up.
It does, and we've got some of our lovely viewers here asking the whereabouts of the children. Good question, because that's what everybody has been asking. We keep seeing the same little photographs being used for celebrating Lilibet's birthday. People wondering where
Yeah,
the children are. They
that
the real
conversation's
biological
good.
parents? Yeah, very good.
Mm,
They keep 95 of the donations. Okay, so this was actually highlighted the other day when they failed to
mm,
produce those accounts on time, and they
mm,
were
mm,
what was the word that was used? Um, Delinquent or something like that, for
mm,
failing to turn up the accounts, the yearly accounts on time. So that shows their highest level of disorganization, distrust, and all of that sort of.
Mm,
Because if you're going
mm,
to run an organization like that as a former working royal, you have to be organized, file those accounts on time, be transparent enough to show who is donating, where is this money going. We haven't seen all of that. Okay. And they recently traveled to Nigeria. They were meant to show us a lot to do with what the charity has done and where they are moving forward with any new schools they are going to be funding. We didn't see any of that. So it's just something that is there used to get money, but with actually no real impact being made to communities out there, in the name of this charity. So we have Maceto Gialoreto. Hi from Rome. Hi, thank you for joining us. Heather, it is to hide income. Very well said there. Actually, it's only 5% to charity. I think
mm,
I
mm.
agree with all these comments. I
Yeah, I
agree.
do too. Yeah.
And that explains why they are struggling to find donors. I
Mm,
think they had
mm.
just two donors up to the other day, and
I know.
we could, in a charity. I mean, Prince Harry. Many people would be rallying behind them to donate, to do this, come forward to support, but none of that is happening because people are not prepared to go down in this hole of Meghan Markle and their canny motives of, getting money to fund their expensive life in Montecito. I mean, of all places, they moved to Montecito closer to Oprah Winfrey because they want to, you know, Harry's a royal. There could have been a better place to go and hide than going into those places. They wanted privacy, and then they go on this worldwide privacy tour, and all of that sort of thing. So it
Well,
is.
someone
Mm,
someone made a really good point here. Francis, it's from Lisa H. Francis,
yes.
remember that they did pics of the Independence Day parade in Montecito? That was
Mm,
previously. This year there are no pics. Do you know
no,
I missed that? Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good point.
it's a good point. Yes, very good
Mm,
point.
mm.
And this has led to these growing questions of, right, is where are they actually the biological parents, Meghan Markle? Where,
Yeah,
if you can't even bring these kids to see their father, to their grandfather, the king, here in the United Kingdom, if you can't take them to see Meghan Markle's parents, the dad is in hospital, is crying out loud to see his grandchildren. They've never taken those kids. So it's more like there is that agreement somewhere that these kids are not yours, and so you can't even
mm,
show them anywhere.
mm,
Okay.
mm.
It's
Yeah,
very
there's
interesting.
something off. There is.
Hmm?
Why would you think about it? Why would Megan give up the opportunity of standing on the same hospital steps as
Mm-hmm.
Princess Diana and get those
Exactly.
photos? Why
Photos,
would
which,
she
which,
pass up that opportunity with the baby, with
mhm.
Harry's baby, and doing a Princess Diana? Like, so something's off.
Something is
Something is
off because
off.
we all
I,
know, we all know
yeah,
Meghan Markle and how she likes to take that spotlight.
yeah.
Mm?
Something
So
is not
something
right.
is hot. Yes.
Yeah, it's
So
totally off.
this is why people are constantly calling them out until the truth
Mm,
comes out, and I think it will come out. So we've
yeah.
got Elaine here. She says, I'm late joining. Hi. Hi, Yochka. Yes, no babies. Thank you for joining me. It's great to
I
have
think,
you all around these conversations.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think
It,
we're
it's
coming to the end now.
we're nearly coming to the end
Yeah.
of the party. But hey, we're always going to be coming back here every
Oh,
now and
yes.
then to catch up with these conversations. But it's interesting because it doesn't surprise us to see their ratings go down and down every year, Meghan and Harry's. and Catherine and Prince William's ratings are always on the increase, 70% onwards and upwards. The more Prince Harry, Meghan Markle turn up for these public engagements of theirs, the more William and Catherine are actually, the ratings are going high, because Meghan and Harry are exposing themselves quite often every time they step out. Okay, so we see all of these very, what is the word, clingy moments,
Oh, they're
Megan,
awful.
all very, very clingy. Every time something very awful, comes up, and
Mm,
it's because of their lack of that ability to be natural people, to be
mm,
genuine. Everything is acted. Everything
mm,
Meghan Markle
mm,
does is acted, and he brings Prince Harry into this. Bless her, is a lost sheep in that relationship, and it makes him appear like a child. He doesn't know what to do. Is he's just there, and Prince Harry misses here. He misses.
oh, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
So we've had stories of him wanting to come back and
yeah.
buy a house here, and I think most of all of that is to do with the fact that I think he feels like he misses home and he wants to come back home, and maybe things being closer here will
Mm,
allow for any sort of reconciliation to take place.
mm. I think it's going to happen. And remember, um, after Princess Diana's death, uh,
Mm,
the the then Prince of Wales, um, he began a PR campaign in order to eventually bring in the woman he loved, bring her back into the public view. It
mm,
took a long time, and now she's the queen, and her Ipsos polling has risen by 5%. She's still in the 48 area somewhere there, but if the king wants his son back,
mm,
we're going to see more and more of these stories. That's my opinion,
mm,
because the king wants him back in the fold. I
mm,
think it's normal for a father to want his son back. I think Harry is vulnerable. There are reports on Twitter from Reddit and Quora now. I don't know. They're not verified. So
mm,
that's all I'll say. They're
mm,
alleged allegations,
mm,
that Harry's had a breakdown,
mm,
and I believe the king just wants his son back in the fold. How
mm,
that will look when it happens, but I believe this is what's happening. I believe
mm,
it's sanctioned by the king himself. That's
mm,
just my opinion. Take it to the bank if you like, but I
mm,
will put a bet on it. I will put a
mm.
bet on it.
Mhm.
Mm.
You're right there. Lisa has left us. Bye, Lisa, if you're still here. If you've
Bye.
gone, it was great to have you on the show
Yeah, yeah,
and to have
lovely.
your
Mm,
incredible thoughts. Princess,
mm.
thank you so much for keeping the fire burning in the comments. We've got uh, Paul Donham, thank you so much for joining us. And Paul actually makes a very important point here. He says William is finished with Harry, a reconciliation
Yes, yes.
looks impossible. I think everybody
Mm,
agrees
mm.
with that.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
right now, I think Harry's more on the mercy of his father, the king.
Yep.
And king, obviously, this is a father. He still wants to exercise his rights as a father who is
Mm,
still loving his children, who thinks that regardless of what
mm,
a child does, he will always be a child.
mm, mm,
So, like you said, the king still thinks there is room for Harry to come back. And
mm,
I think he knows as well that Harry's mental health. These are his boys. He knows their weaknesses, so he knows that if he doesn't look after Harry somehow, we don't want to see him end up in places where then they
mm,
start saying that, well, he didn't get any support or love from his
mm, mm,
father. So I think
mm,
Prince King Charles is doing all the right things to keep
mm,
elements of a certain door open for Harry
Yes. Yeah.
to leave room for at least if any eventualities do happen. It
Mm,
is there to clearly see that, Harry still had the chances, but he didn't use them. Okay.
mm,
But
mm, mm,
reconciliation with Prince William is looks
mm,
impossible. Of course, it
mm,
does. It really does. Not after that spare thing. Not after what
mm,
was said in the
mm,
book that William pushed me. I fell down on the ball. I cracked my ribs. My
mm.
brother has anger issues. All of those things are very, very big allegations to make. So yes, it's still not, it's still very raw. This book has only been out when a year and a
Yeah.
half ago.
Yeah.
So things are very, very raw. So I think this is not the right time to
Mm,
get those things done. Prince William
mm,
is concentrating more on, you know, creating this image of you see whatever was said to me in that book where lies, and just getting on with the great work, and letting none of what was said bring him down in any way, shape, or form. And in so doing, William is also protecting his dear wife, Catherine, because
yeah.
Catherine was also attacked. Okay, so it's not William reconciling with his brother, then where is Catherine in the picture? So that
And
there
I
is a
think
lot.
And I
Mhm.
think the king is aware of that. I think that the king sees a window. I wonder if I can't speak for him, of course, but I'm thinking like a parent.
Mm.
I'm wondering if he's considering the prospect that if he's not brought back into the family fold sooner, that
It's gonna be difficult.
it won't
Yeah,
happen under a King William.
William. Yes, yeah, because we know how William has
Mm,
been
mm, yeah.
firm in the past, recent past, with regards to these two. Okay.
Mm,
Or the issues of them appearing on the balcony at some point. I
mm.
think there was going to be a slim chance of King Charles letting them on that balcony, and William comes in and says, if they're standing on that balcony, I won't
Yeah.
stand there.
Y-
And then the issue of the seat allocations on these royal functions. The other day we saw them come back for what was the Queen's funeral, and all of that sort of thing, the Platinum Jubilee service, and William playing an instrumental role in actually choosing seats for those two away from any major photographs and the places where they would be actually.
Yeah.
So we have seen William being very firm with Harry and Meghan,
Mm.
and how he is prepared to actually discipline them, to show them for what I mean, to call them up for to apologize to the royal family, which the king hasn't done yet. And I think people are still wondering why the king is not doing that, being more firm with his son. But we can sit here and say maybe the king is being very careful not to come across as too harsh, because he knows where that might take his son, Prince Harry. But Paul is very right. We don't see that reconciliation coming anytime soon between the two brothers. And you don't blame Prince
Yeah.
William for that. Mm.
No, I don't blame Prince William at all. In fact, I think it's wise.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
very wise position he's taking. But there is only, I don't know if Harry has the capacity to, think strategically, but there's a small window.
Mm,
And as a parent, I would be looking ahead, and I'd be thinking it's not going to happen under his brother's reign. And the
mm,
problem is when you get sick, you think of everything. You think longer term, and
mm,
I don't think Harry's got that capacity, But Hugo Vickers, he did say in that video with the son, he just said, I think when he comes back, though, we're going to have to be very kind. And that was his way of saying he's going to come back a very broken man because he's terrified of Meghan. He
Yeah.
lives he lives terrified of her, but he's
Mm.
equally terrified of losing her.
Mm.
And if he comes back, that's the kind of man that's going to be coming back very broken. But I mean,
Yes.
who's terrified of their wife, for crying out loud? Oh, are you
No,
terrified of your wife? You don't look like a
no.
terrified man
I,
to
and
me.
that comes down to the fact that these two were not compatible,
Yeah.
and we don't know. When you look at them, they don't appear to be, and there is a lot of pretense. And with Meghan Markle, obviously, you don't know what's. She's very predictable, isn't it? Sometimes,
Yes.
because
Yes.
she's done all these things in the past, and she's an
Mm,
actor, so it's sometimes difficult to see her actually doing something that is going to be. I don't even know how to put it. But this all puts Harry in a very difficult situation.
mm, mm.
So by now, as we said earlier, he just have to lie in that bed for now. As
Oh yes.
yeah,
Yeah. I think it'll be a while
yeah,
because his ego won't
yeah,
allow him. But yes, our
right,
team is way more capable and kind that oxygen. Oh, I think they're talking about sport.
yeah,
Whoever
yeah,
allows someone to mock their beloved grandmother, I know.
yes, yeah,
My granddaughter would never do that. My granddaughter
mm.
would never ever. She's so loyal, My granddaughter would never mock her granny. If she did, I'd tell you, her life wouldn't be worth living.
Exactly. But
The
Lee Haynes makes a very important. Harry needs to
Yeah,
be to stand up against and choose.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah,
what he wants as a man. He needs to start
yeah.
taking those decisions. He needs to tell her openly that what, nobody comes to say anything crap about my family, royal family,
Mm,
because I've grown up there. I know more than you know them. you know she he met her 6 months before they married, and for her to stand there and make Harry turn against his family, that Harry knows the family loved him so much, is bizarre. We don't even know how Harry failed to that. But he needs to stand up
no,
against and start drawing those lines, especially with how she mocked the Queen in that courtesy. Prince
it's
Harry,
pretty awful. Yeah,
that was the right moment for him to come in and say, right, I mean, you know what, I think you are crossing the line and you and me are going to
yeah,
be done. He needs to do something. And unless he does that, he's going to
yeah.
continue lying in that bed, and the
Mm,
royal family
mm,
is gonna come in here and say, right, right, Harry, come back, leave your wife, do that. They've
mm,
left
mm,
this to him to resolve, to sort out those issues with
mm,
his wife and put his wife in the right place. Nobody's
mm.
gonna do that for him. And at the moment, it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like it is going to happen anytime soon.
No,
Yeah,
it can't. It's the conditions. I think the groundwork is being laid, but the conditions are not right yet.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's down to Harry, really. It is down to him, but I just I see the king behind a lot of these stories. I think, oh, he did this with his
yeah,
the love of his life, and she
yeah,
obviously is the love of
yeah.
his life. She's a very stabilizing force.
Hmm.
Um, he managed it with the Queen. What's to say he won't manage a similar campaign with his errant son?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Quick
I'm
question
just
before we go.
speculating.
Quick question before we finish this,
Yes, yes.
Catherine. Would you like to see these differences resolved now?
No,
No.
no.
Yeah.
I I I don't think it's in Meghan Markle's interest to get a divorce. And
Mm,
I hadn't thought about it. You brought to my attention he uh, he has nothing,
mm,
and the Princess Royal is the trustee of, I think it Princess Diana's. There's some inheritance due to him. I don't know the details, but the Princess Royal is the trustee of that, and she can just keep putting the age back on that. She's got
Mm,
full control. So if Meg's is hanging out for anything, it's not
mm,
going to happen. I believe the reason they've got those invisible children was her securing a position where she could just, live off the public purse forever and a day. But I don't want to see. I think Prince William is quite within his rights. A
yeah.
lot of people, there's a lot of people who won't like that about him, but he has to protect his family, and
Mm,
that this book has crossed a line.
it
The
has.
Scobie book that was released overseas that named the King and Catherine as racist, it's gone too far for William, but as a father, I can
Yeah.
understand the king's heartache, and I can understand him wanting to get his house in order. That I understand it, but frankly, I think it's early days yet.
It's early days. That's what it's a
Yeah,
perfect
yeah,
way of putting it. Early days,
yeah,
and I think it's better those two stay where they are than
yeah.
come back here because we don't want any more stress. We don't want
Mm,
any more of coming to cause controversies here. We've had enough of that, and I
mm,
think they are too
mm.
good where they are. To be.
Yeah.
We don't want them any closer to the Wellses, the family
Mm.
growing up, because I think they will spread those bad seeds amongst these young ones growing up.
Yes.
There is an article
Mm.
I read a few months back where Harry had started, telling, these sources were claiming he was starting to get worried about Prince George, sorry, Louis,
I
and
saw that.
that
Yeah.
he's going to be in the same way Prince Harry has ended in being a spare, and bringing that sort of mindset right now in these young ones growing up is not going to be make Harry a good uncle, being closer to the Wellses, and Catherine as well doesn't need that bad energy around her family growing
Mm.
up. Of
Mm.
course, Meghan Markle, Harry coming back here is going to bring that negative energy, that
Mm.
competition, which is not healthy at all. Like we saw
Mm. Mm.
Meghan wanting to front during her time she was here, is not what we want to see now. So
Mm.
it is good for them to stay where they are now. Okay, and I think Prince William is taking the right steps to keep that
Yes.
arm's length there, to keep
Mm.
that distance for now. We don't want it. We don't want them anywhere closer to the royal family. So we had the King's birthday parade last time, which went on very perfectly. We had
Mm.
no drama. Can you imagine a situation when if those two were around,
Oh,
now things would have
that's
been different. We
it
don't
doesn't bear
want all
thinking
of that.
about.
Absolutely. So for
Mm.
now, I think let us roll with the things as they are.
Mm.
Keep
Mm.
that distance. William, carry on with that firm hand. Okay, you know what? Stay
Mm.
there. Let me stay here. You have always maintained we are on a different path, so let it be like that. Okay,
Mm.
because Harry said that. Remember, he said me and my brother are
Yep.
on two different paths. He's always
Yep.
maintained that. So yes, let it be that way. Take your path.
Mm.
Let William take his path, which
Mm.
is the right one. He's the future king. He needs to concentrate on building his own image now. Let him grow into his role. We've seen him in Dusseldorf, Germany, supporting the British team in the Euro competition, and he's going to be going again to see them for the semi-finals. You see him very
Mm.
happy. It's great to see that happen. Okay, he's the chairman for the FA. He's driving all these projects in the right direction.
Mm.
So we want to see that happen. So our prospect of Prince Harry coming back, Meghan, these reconciliatory talks will only serve to disrupt, Prince William from pursuing his goal of being the future
Mm.
it's going to be. But anyway, we've had these conversations. I think
It's
it's
been
coming to
fabulous.
hours. Yes.
Mm.
So it's high time. It's coming to midnight here in the UK. So
Well,
tomorrow is a
thank
working
you.
week. Yeah. And we can always catch up again in
Yes,
these
yes.
conversations. Yes.
All
Should you
right.
take time to recognize our friends, Catherine? If you
Uh,
can call
well,
them out there, I think on your side, please call
some
them
of
out.
them are really, thanks be to God for the Princess Royal. I agree with that. She's, oh, I wish she'd been the firstborn. I adore her because
Yes,
she's like her father. She got the best of both parents.
she has. Yes,
Um, the Invisible Children, yeah, we covered that.
yes.
But we got a lot to say for two kids that don't that we wonder if they exist. The Princess Royal is awesome. That's from CCC.
Yes.
The Next Inheritance is from Queen Mother. I think you're right there. I think you're right,
Mm,
CCC. And he
yeah.
gets about 45 million. Oh my gosh. He's probably spent all his mum's money now. Yeah.
Yeah, he's that expensive lifestyle.
And
The
Heather says
mansion.
thank you.
Yes.
These are fabulous. You're all fabulous, sweetie darlings. You're
Fabulous, yes.
fabulous, sweetie
Lisa, Lee
darlings.
Haynes, the Princess Harlot.
Yeah.
You've
Oh,
been
I love
wonderful.
that. I
Thank you
love
so
that.
much. Yeah, she's been wonderful, and so is everybody. Please don't forget to drop your channel name in the
A
description. In the
royal, a
Royalta, yes,
royal iota.
Royalta, yes. I'll drop that in the description as well. And
Thank
Lily
you.
Page, thank you so much. You joined the party
Oh,
quite late. Hi,
lovely.
Lily.
Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you as always. Lee
Yeah.
Haynes, fabulous. Heather, Sissy.
Look at
We
all
have
those
such a
hearts
wonderful
going.
community here. Wonderful
Yeah.
community. Paul Donham, greetings wherever you're watching us from. It's an honor to have you all here. Elsie, if you're still on, we have such a wonderful community.
You
Very
do. You do.
wonderful. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
You've worked hard. You've worked hard,
yeah.
Francis.
And it's great to
Mm.
these conversations of what is helping the royal family to stay out there, and show the
Mm.
love and work they are doing to the communities across the globe, and only us can support them for now to keep that fire burning. They've been through a lot recently with the health scares, the Meghan and Harry
Yeah.
wave. I've always said that's another challenge that we are going to overcome very soon. There is no strong wave than that of Princess Diana, but if
Yeah.
that was overcome, then this Meghan and Harry's wave is only a little storm that
I
is here
agree.
for the time
Yeah.
being, but that will
Mm.
too will be resolved. And it is only going to be a matter of time, and Prince Harry will realize that he has been in wrong hands ever
Mm.
since. And whether
Yeah.
that will be so late, again, time is going to tell. But what we can only sit here and say is that, we support the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine. They are the future of the British monarchy. We want their children to grow up into wonderful royals who are going to carry the flag forward. And of course, we would like to see this transition, become a smooth one. So King Charles is very important right now
Yes.
to
Yes,
oversee
he
this
is.
transition. Okay,
Mm.
he might have his weaknesses as we see, but hey,
Oh,
what we
yeah.
have to do is to line up behind him and support him through his reign with hope that, William and Catherine's reign arrives. Okay? And is
Well,
the
thank
monarchy going to
you.
be here to stay? A big yes.
I will still be here because I'm
Yes.
not going anywhere.
Anywhere.
I'm
Yeah.
not going anywhere soon. No way.
Yeah, no way, yes. Right,
Thank
my
you.
dear Catherine, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I'll
And
see you
so
again
to
soon.
you all on this
Thank
live
you.
stream, thank you all. Have a
Bye,
fantastic new
everyone.
week, Catherine, and to
I
every single
will.
one of you out
Yeah.
there. Okay,
And
bye
sweet
bye.
dreams to you. Bye.
And you too. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.